Hey guys, welcome to this tutorial. My name is ThaTimster. Today I'm going to be going over part 2 in the project assets train carriage tutorial. So in part 1 we went ahead and we created all of this and made the interior. So in this tutorial we'll be going over getting the seats going on the inside and then also getting some wheels on the carriage. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Press Z to go into wireframe, select it all, don't select the hemi, press M and move to layer 2. So now what we're going to do is we'll press Shift A, add ourselves a plane, S to scale. Then I'm going to press Shift A, add myself a cube. There's going to be like the door. So SY, GY. Alright, so something out of that. Cool. And then we'll give this here a metal texture. So click New. Go to the texture tab and just choose a metal texture. Alright, so something like this should be fine. Metal bear, again from CG Textures if you want to go ahead and get it. Control A, apply scale, U and unwrap. Go into texture mode, that looks fine. Maybe scale it in a bit. And then I'm going to select our door here. Let's go ahead and give that a texture as well. So new material. Then choose shadeless down here. New texture. So again from CG Textures I just got some doors, so maybe this one here. Then press numpad 7, U and make sure you're in edit mode. Then U and project from view bounds. And so now what we can do is scale it on the x-axis, SX, the UV map, and then scale it on the Y as well. Okay. If you want to, you can sort of smudge out the text and paint over it, but I don't really mind. Then with this selected, press SZ and just move it up slightly. Cool. So select this, hold down Shift, select the back, Control J, and then I'm going to press Shift A, add another plane, and we'll just bake all the detail to this plane as a texture. So Tab, U, and unwrap, and then we'll choose Tab, new image, bake, bake, and then make this something like 512, so it's fairly optimized, and then click OK. Then I'm going to press Tab, select this main object, hold down Shift, select our other object, go to Blender Render, choose World Settings, Ambient Occlusion 0.8, Samples 20, then go over to the Render tab. Again, make sure you have this, hold down Shift, select the top, and then bake. First of all, let's choose textures. Now down here, make sure you choose selected to active. So first of all, what I'm going to do is go over here and choose textures, click bake, and that should bake out our textures here. Then image, save as image, go to the desktop, call it carriage, and then choose it. Compression to full, RGB, save as image, and then we'll go over here and choose ambient occlusion, bake as well. Now this here will take a while depending on samples and how fast your computer is, but it shouldn't be too bad at 20 samples. Alright, so that's pretty much done. Save as image, let's call it AO, compression to full, save as image. Alright, so now let's go ahead and open up GIMP or Photoshop, up to you. Click open, go to desktop, carriage, choose bake, and then open as layers, AO, choose multiply, and then maybe make it like 80% or something. Then go file and export as door texture. It's probably a good idea. Door texture. Export it out. Cool. Discard, and that should be fine. So we can delete both of those. Go back over here. Select the whole object and all the pieces, then M and move to layer 1. Go over to layer 1, and then go into texture view. Now what we need to do is press numpad 5 so we can see inside it. So select one face, hold down shift, select the other, then press F to join them. And also we'll want to do the same on this side. So this one, F to join. Alright, cool. So I'm going to go ahead and add another material. Let's call this door. And then what we'll do is turn off specular, new texture, click open, and then we'll go to carriage and we'll choose our door texture. Alright, so U and unwrap, then also go over here and choose assign. Then in this other side as well, let's choose door and assign. So with both sides selected, press numpad 1 and then numpad 5, U and project from view bounds, and that should fit the door in nicely. So now we just need to do the same thing over on the other side. So select this, select both, F to join the face, and we have another weird problem, get rid of that one. Then inside here, choose both of those and join them together as well. Select both faces, numpad 1, numpad 5, and then assign to door, and then U and project from view bounds. So I'm going to press Z to go into wireframe, B to box select, and select everything except for the hemi. So C, and then click the scroll wheel to deselect stuff. And then once you got it all selected, press M and move to layer 2. Alright, so here on layer 1, I'm going to press Shift A. I'm going to add myself a cylinder. This here is going to be my wheel. And then I'm going to press SZ, scale it on the Z axis. So then I'm going to press RY 90, rotate it 90 degrees, and then we'll go into solid mode. Then I'm going to press Tab, go to face select, select the front face, and press X and delete faces. Then we'll go into vertice select, hold down the Alt key, select a ring like so, press E to extrude, S to scale, scale it in like so, then E to extrude again, and S to scale a little bit, and then just move it backwards. Alright, and then do it again, E, S, and then move it forwards again, just so we sort of get a bit of a dip. Then I'm going to press S again, just to keep scaling it a bit more. And then what we can do, E to extrude again, S to scale, and then E and S. This time we'll move it in again. This can be like the main axle. Okay, and then E and S again, one last time, and then just move it down the back here. Then I'm going to press F to make a face and seal it off. And that's going to be my train wheel. Cool, so if you want to, I guess you can add a dip down the middle where it sort of connects with the track. Okay, so that's going to be one wheel for me. So now what I'm going to do is press Shift D to duplicate and then GY. Move it across and we're going to get a second one going. Okay, so something like that. Then we need something to join them, so maybe move it a bit closer. Then Shift A, add myself a cube, S to scale, GX, and move it in the middle, SY, scale it out. So we're going to press SY until all of the sort of hinge is covered. And what we might do is press Tab, add a couple loop cuts, maybe 3, Z to go into wireframe, select the first two, press O on your keyboard, or down here, go enable, and then we're just going to move it out. And before we do that, GY, and then scroll in, and we'll affect less of it. Cool, so something like that. Do that for both sides. GY. Alright, SY. Scale it in. Now what we're going to do is we'll add that middle part in here. Now this again can really just be anything. It all just gets baked into one cube anyway, so it's sort of just for the extra details. For this front part here though, I'm going to press SX, scale it on the X-axis, just so it's a bit more flat. Then I'm going to press Shift A and add myself another cube, and this here can be the sort of backdrop. So SX, move it to the back, GX. Then I'm going to press Control and numpad 3 to go into the front view here, numpad 5. And then I'm going to press Z to go into wireframe, Tab to go into edit mode, Select the bottom here, SY, scale it in, and then the top here, let's just bring it down. And then I'm going to press E to extrude, move it up. Then both sides here, if we go into face select this one, hold down shift, select this, turn the proportional editing off, E and then SY, and Y, make sure it's on the Y axis. Alright, cool, so maybe something like that. And then I think we had like springs or something in the background. Now for the springs, I'm just going to press Shift A, add myself a torus. So with the torus here, I'm going to go to the modifiers tab, choose array 1 on the Z axis, 0, and then just give it quite a few. Alright, yeah, maybe 13. Click apply, S to scale, and GX. Move it in the back here, GX, GY, S to scale again, and then GY, Shift D to duplicate, another one over here. Cool, and then select both, Shift D to duplicate, and GY again, and move it over there. Now the front of it does still seem a little bit bland, so what I might do is press Tab. We'll get something covering the back here, so let's choose all of this, E to extrude, EX, then let's just press E to extrude and move the back down here. Do that for both sides, and then we'll just merge the vertices down the bottom here. So select these two, Alt M, at center. Alright, and just do that for all. Cool, and now you can delete the inside face. Not that it really matters, because we're baking it anyway. Alright, so I'm happy with that. We still are missing quite a bit of detail at the front. What I might do is actually give it some depth first of all. So let's give it a border. Control R to make a loop cut, and then click and drag. So we're going to give it a border like this, just around each edge, like that. Cool, and then we're going to go face select, and then select all the edges in the middle. Oh, we need one more border over here. Okay, face select now, select the middle parts, and then E to extrude and X. And then if you want to, you can select just one of these, E and X again, and then just give these sort of individual depth as well. So maybe only half of the springs showing in this one. And then same over here, EX. Alright, and now if you want to, you can add more cubes or loopholes or something like that, just to make it look a bit better. What I might do is, let's just add a cube here, and then move it across. GY, Shift D to duplicate, just to make it look a bit more complicated. Shift D, GZ, and then maybe what we can do with these ones is go over here, individual, SY, scale it out. Cool, go into edit mode, Control B, and then just scale out, and that will smooth off the edges. You can leave it plain for this one if you want. I'm just going to do Control B as well, bevel, and then these two maybe move into the middle here somewhere. Right. Cool, so that could be that done, up to you. So once you're happy with it, what you want to do is join everything together at once. So all the springs and all the wheels in the front, all of that needs to be joined together. Then select the main frame here and Control J. Now what we need to do is make the wheels and the springs smooth, and maybe we'll leave this flat on the front. So what we're going to do is press Tab, A to deselect, select one of the top things here, select the front, and anything else we don't want to be smooth. Then press Control L, and then press Control I. That will invert the selection, and then we can just go over here and choose Smooth. Okay, so once we've done that, what we can do is start creating a low poly model. So this is the high poly model, obviously, and so now we can press Shift A, add ourselves a cylinder, press T, open up the toolbar, let's make this 12, and then I'm going to press RY90, GY, move it down, GY, and you want it to fit around one of the wheels here. Then SX, scale it on the x-axis, GX, and then S to scale again. Hold down Shift for small increments, and we want it to fill in most of it. Then GZ to move it down a bit, and even it out. Okay, cool. Then S to scale, and maybe Shift X, so only outwards. Then we'll go over to smooth, then Shift D to duplicate, and GY, and put another copy over here. Maybe we'll make it flat this time, just so we can see what it's covering. Smooth again. And then what we're going to do is create a basic cube for the rest of it over here. So I'm going to press Shift A, add myself a cube, and this is probably going to account for the sort of front bit here as well. So I'm going to press Control numpad 3 and then Z to go into wireframe, and we'll move it down. Okay, SZ, scale it on the Z axis, and then we'll press SY and scale it outwards. So now if we go ahead over here and press Z to go into wireframe, you'll notice there's quite a big gap here. So I'm going to press Tab to go into edit mode, Control R, make it loop cut, and put it maybe somewhere around here. Then I'm going to press Control R, make another loop cut, and put it fairly close. And then what we can do is select this here, GZ, and move it up. So you want it just below. Cool, so something like that, maybe RY, rotate it slightly, and there we go. Now the back here does also have a lot of space, so GX, and just move it in. Now for the front here, what you can do is also press Control R, make a loop cut, and you want this to be above the wheels, so press Z to go into wireframe, just make sure it's above, then press Control R, make another loop cut, just below, and then we can go ahead and select this main face here and just move it backwards. So I'm going to select this loop over here, not these back ones. Then I'm also going to select, I guess, this whole other loop down the side. Just move it all backwards, GX, and until we get to the mesh. Now actually also what we can do is, because we have our own wheels, we can actually bring this down all the way to the top of the connector. Alright, and then this face here, we can press X and delete. Alright, and then we'll just sort of remesh that later. X and delete. So then I'm going to press Z to go into wireframe, and let's actually go ahead and press H to hide most of these objects. Tab to go into edit mode, select these, and over here, F to make a face, and then another one over here. Then you can do the same on this side, H to hide, Tab to go into edit mode, and just sort of sew it back together again. Cool, F to make a face. So now while we're here, we can also go ahead and sort of simplify these faces. So select that, F to make a face, same for the back here, same for the top, and we may as well do the same over here if we can, just sort of join it all together. So that can be one, that could be one. Alright, so we have one here, and then this again, we can make one face. Now what I'm going to do is press Tab, Alt H to unhide. I'm going to go ahead and bring the front back. But apart from that, I don't think there is too much more to worry about. Just make sure that all of the faces are relatively close together. So join all the low poly objects together here. Control J. So select the low poly here, and then press H to hide. Select the main one here. Go New Material, add No Specular. Then we'll go over to the Texture tab here. Click New, and then click Open. Now the texture I'm using here is called Rust Mixed. Again, it's from CG Textures or textures.com. If you want to go ahead and download it from there for free, you need an account, but apart from that, you should be able to get it. Looks like this, and it's called rustmixed.0080. So I'm going to press Control A, apply scale, Tab, A to deselect, A to select everything, U Smart UV project, click OK. It will take a while because of all the springs that we've got. And then once we're done, we're going to go over here, new window, UV, UV, move this back across, tab, and then here we'll select the rust. So this one down here, A to select everything, we'll scale it up a bit, go into texture mode. Alright, so if you want to, again, you can add some more variation or move it around a bit. But I'm fairly happy with that, so what I'm going to do is press Alt-H to unhide. Now we also need to unwrap our low poly version here. So I'm going to press Ctrl-A, apply scale, then tab, A to deselect, A to select everything, use Smart UV project. We'll give it a bit of island margin, and then click OK. And then from here what we can do is click New, call this Train Wheel, Texture, and then make it 512 by 512, click OK, go over here, render settings, and we'll choose bake. Now before we do anything else, we want to first of all choose bake and then textures, then press Z to go into wireframe, select this copy, hold down shift, select the low poly copy, and then click bake. Alright, so those are all the textures. Then we'll press image, save as image, and train wheel texture. Alright, and then just compression to full, RGB, save as image. Now we'll go ambient occlusion, bake. Again, this will take a while depending on the samples you've set over here. Then you can go image, save as image, and train wheel AO. Alright, RGB, full, save as image. And then if you'd like to, this step is optional, you can also bake the normals. Save as image and call this nor for normal. Alright, then compression to full and save as image. Then we're going to go into GIMP here, or you can use Photoshop or whatever. Then we'll click open, desktop, go to our carriage, and we'll open up the texture first. Then click open as layers, choose AO, maybe 80%, and then choose multiply as well. Okay, then we'll go export as. Let's just call it diffuse for something different. Diffuse, and then export. Alright, so that's done. You can just close GIMP. Then go back into Blender here and select the high poly version. And we can just move that over here for now. Then with the low poly version selected, go over here, scroll up, click new, and we'll choose no specular, new texture, open up. Go over here and we'll choose our train diffuse. Okay, and so if we go into texture mode and choose Blender Game, we might have some problems here with the white. So if you do have any problems, you can just select the face that the problem is on, A to select everything on the face, and then SX and SY until there's no more white. So select both of those. Maybe we'll just select this one first. Basically just scale it in. Over here, make a new texture, and then we'll choose normal map, and also turn off color and choose normal. Then from here, we'll click open, choose train wheel normal, click OK. So now if we go into point lamp mode, we should have some normal maps for it as well, so it looks like it has a bit more depth to it. Now what we can do is go ahead and put this train wheel on the carriage. So if you'd like to, you don't think you'll ever use this again, you can go ahead and delete it. I'm just going to press M and move it to layer 5, just in case I do need it later. And then I'm going to go to layer 2, just by clicking here, or pressing 2 on the top of your keyboard. Select this, press M and move to layer 1. And oh, we won't do that, we need to select all the doors, M and move to layer 1. Then I'm going to go over to layer 1 here, and then we'll select our train wheel, Z to go into solid view again, and now we'll just move it below the train. Okay, and so I think every second door worked quite well, so roughly we'll have 3 sets per carriage, but again, it just depends on how you want to set it up. This here was just below the side of the train. We're going to select Hemi again so we can see what we're doing. Alright, so we have that one there. Shift D to duplicate GX, and then RZ180. And move this over here. Okay. So once you're happy with the position of both of those, select both of them. Shift D, GY, put one in the middle here. And GY maybe a bit more, and then Shift D, GY again, and put one on the end. Now this middle one here might actually need to move across. If you'd like to, you can add more of these or less. In fact, I think most probably don't even have these middle ones, they just have two on the sides. Now also one thing you have to watch out for is if these stick up too far, they'll go through the floor, so press tab to go into edit mode and just push them down a bit. Alright, just below, so you don't squish the texture too much, and then same in this side, so just below, and then also select this one, and move that just below as well. Alright, so to make the inside, what we're going to have to do is make the seats, and then the sort of poles that the seats are on, and then assemble those together, and then put those into the train carriage. So first of all, I'm going to select the wheels here on both sides, and we'll join them in with the carriage, so Control J. Now if you were to use this in an actual game, make sure you set it to no collision, and then add in your own planes and stuff and cubes to act as collisions instead. Alright, so now what we're going to do is, once you've joined it all together, Z to go into wireframe, select all the parts, M and move to layer 2. So I'm going to go over here, Shift S, cursor to center, Shift A, and add myself a cube. Then Z to go into wireframe, SZ, and this is going to be the main seat. So if you want to, select the back edge here and just move it down slightly, and then also you can select the top face and scale it in slightly as well. Then we'll go over here, smooth. So now what we'll do is give it a quick texture, so no collision, and then click new, no specular, give it a new texture, click open. So for this texture here, I literally just went to GIMP, got a blue background, and scribbled some colors on it. That's all it is. There isn't much else to it. You can make your own textures, make them look a bit more fancy or uniform if you'd like to, or you can use proper ones from CG Textures, but again, this is just a random one that I made. So I'm going to select my seat here and press Ctrl A, apply scale, A to deselect, A to select everything, Smart UV project, and then we'll go over here into text mode, and then press A to select everything, S to scale, and we'll just scale it out like this. You can rotate it as well if you like. Then select this, Shift D to duplicate, GX, and then RZ180, then RY90, and this is going to be like the backrest, so GX, and then just move it in. Now if you'd like to, of course, the edge here should probably go back a bit more. And so maybe we'll actually go ahead and move them together a bit more. So something like that. Then what you can do is go ahead and select both of them, Control J, join them together, Shift D to duplicate, GY, add another one, and then Shift D to duplicate, GY, and another one. So in each row, I think I might have 4 seats together, like so, with a small gap in between each of them, numpad 7. This one can probably have a bit more of a gap. Same with that one. Alright. Cool, so I'm happy with that. Now what I'm going to do is press Shift A and add myself in a cylinder. This here I'm going to make only 8 vertices because it's going to be quite small. Then RX90, S to scale, scale it in, SY, scale it on the Y axis, then SY again, move it down, S and Shift Y. Okay, GY. Now the cylinder here we only want slightly larger than the seats, so maybe something like this, and it's going to be on the bottom. So there'll be one set up the front, and then there'll be another set underneath. So by that I mean we'll have one here and then one here as well. So Shift D to duplicate, GX, and move it over here. Alright, maybe forward a bit more. Then what I'm going to do is select it, choose smooth, same for both, and before we do that, let's go ahead and give it a texture so we don't have to unwrap everything all the time. So give it a new material, no specular, and over here, give it a new texture. Again, just choose a random metal texture. So I'm going to go ahead and use this texture here, Metal Bear 115. So I'm going to press Ctrl A, apply scale, Smart UV project, and then we'll go into texture mode. Alright, that looks fine. A to select everything, scale it down a bit, maybe SY. Alright, and then we'll select this, Shift D to duplicate GX, move it in the back here. Then I'm going to press Shift D to duplicate again, except this time I'm going to press RX90, and then SZ, scale it on the Z axes, GX, GY, and numpad 1, and we'll just move it up here. So S and Shift Z for this one as well, GX, and this one here is going to be sort of what everything's connected to. Then I'm going to press Shift D to duplicate, GX, have another one down the back here. Obviously this will be a bit shorter. Alright, maybe something like that, and then numpad 1, then GZ, move it up on the Z axes so it's relatively level, and then maybe we can also scale down the texture a bit. Then Shift D to duplicate, RY90, and then SX, and we'll just have a joining factor here. So GY, and GZ, GX, then tab to go into edit mode, scale down the texture, maybe move it around as well. Now you can also do that for these ones here. If they still seem too large, you can just go ahead and scale them down. Alright, scale it down a bit more. Okay, so now what we can do is we have the main ones here set up. Now I'm going to select this one here, maybe GY a bit more. Move it in, SX, and scale it in. And then I'm going to select both of these, and this one as well, Shift D to duplicate GY, and move it across. So we have our other side as well. And now we need one joining them both together. So select the bottom one here, Shift D to duplicate GZ, and just move it up the top here. So now what we're going to do is go ahead and join everything together. So hold down Shift, select everything, including all the seats. Just select one of them, Control J, origin to geometry, you can just do it here. And then we're going to move this over here. Then I'm going to select this here, and under UV, choose UV map. Go over to the materials, also for the metal here, we want UV map. Then I'm going to press Ctrl A, apply scale, and go over to the settings here, add another UV map, and then press Tab, A to deselect, A to select everything, U and Smart UV project. Make sure you have island margin as well. Then click OK. So now what I'm going to do is click New, and we'll give this, say, seat texture. Then we'll click OK. And then we'll go over here, Tab, and we'll go bake the textures. So selected to active, we can turn off, and then just click bake. Then over here, save as image, seat texture, maybe call it seat diffuse, and then turn up the compression, RGB, save as image, and then here choose ambient occlusion, click bake, let that bake out, and then image, save as image, and this here can be seat AO. And click out, compression to full, save as image. Then back in GIMP here, go ahead and open it up again. So desktop, carriage, we'll go to seat diffuse, open as layers, seat AO, and this here again just 80 or something, and we'll go to multiply, then export this as seat texture, then click export. Alright, and now what we can do is go ahead over here, get rid of UV map 1, go over to this one here, get rid of both materials, click new, and we'll scroll up and give it our texture. So click open, go into image mode and select seat texture. Now if you're not happy with that and you still have GIMP open, you can go ahead and tone it down. Otherwise you can just open up the same files and overwrite the previous one. So I might turn this one down to 70, click export to seat texture, and then refresh. Now what we can do is we can select this and duplicate it within our carriage. So let's go to layer 2 down here, select our carriage and all the pieces, press M and move to layer 1. Then I'm going to go ahead and press S to scale it in, and GY, and now I'm going to press numpad 5, Alt Z to go into texture mode, and we'll just move it here accordingly. So not where the doors are, GY, and then GX, so maybe S to scale, move it up, S to scale again, and then move it against the wall here, GX, and maybe Z to go into wireframe, numpad 7, numpad 5, then SY. Alright, so it just fits in between the doors. So that's that one done. Then I'm going to select this, Shift D to duplicate GX, RZ 180, enter GX and move it back. Alright, so once you've adjusted them, they should look something like this, which doesn't look too bad. This one here is still in the door though, so maybe let's move these two across, GY. Alright, maybe a bit more. So, there we go guys, that's the end of this tutorial. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like, comment, or share down below. All of that stuff would be greatly appreciated. If your one didn't work out, there will also be a finished up blend down in the description below if you want to go ahead and download it. But apart from that, that'll be it for this tutorial, so hope you enjoyed it, have an awesome week, and I'll see you guys in the next one.